Hi guys, and welcome to the fourth and final week of this intervention. Like always, we'll start off with our warm-up. The first exercise we will be doing is a cat-cow with shoulder slides. When you're ready, let's get into our tabletop position. As we move into cow pose, we want to push our belly button to the floor, lifting up our gaze and making sure that we aren't dropping into our shoulders. When you are ready, let's move into our cat pose by taking our chin towards our chest and rippling through our spine so that our bottom is now tucked under. As we are holding these positions for slightly longer than normal, we want to make sure that we are breathing. As we move back into cow pose, let's go through neutral before pushing our belly button towards the floor and lifting up our gaze again. When you are ready, let's tuck our tailbone under and arch our back and taking our chin towards our chest. When you are ready, let's move back into cow pose by rolling through our spine so that our belly button is now towards the floor. As we move into cat pose for the final time, let's take our chin towards our chest, rippling through our spine and tucking our tailbone under. When you are ready, let's take ourselves back to our neutral tabletop position. We are now going to take our left arm and slide it underneath our right one so that our left shoulder is now placed against the floor. When you are ready, let's return back to our neutral tabletop position before taking our right arm underneath our left. We will now take ourselves back to our neutral position and perform our cat-cow pose one more time to remobilize our spine. Let's take our chin high up to the sky and push our belly button to the floor. When you are ready, take your chin towards your chest and ripple up through your spine, tucking your tailbone under back into our cat pose. When you are ready, let's return back to our neutral tabletop position. We will now complete our arm slides again. So let's take our left arm underneath our right one so that we are now placing our left shoulder on the floor. Let's return back to our neutral tabletop position before taking our right arm underneath so that our right shoulder is now placed against the floor. Let's return back to neutral, and that is this exercise complete. We will now be moving on to child's pose, into up dog, into a downward dog. When you are ready, let's get into our tabletop position. As we move into child's pose, we want to take our bottom towards our heels and feel the stretch from our fingertips all the way to our bottom. We want to make sure that we remember to keep breathing, and if we feel like we can stretch further, to wiggle our fingers forward slightly more. When you are ready, we want to keep our arms straight and push our hips towards the mat and arching our back. We want to make sure that we're looking forward or up towards the sky, because this will allow us to stretch our back further. As we flow into downward dog, we want to tuck our toes under before pushing our bottom up towards the sky, so that we make a triangle between our hands, our bottom and our feet. Like always, we want to make sure that our ears are either between our arms or slightly in front of our arms, because this will make our back into a neutral position. When you are ready, let's flow back into up dog. As we flow back into child's pose, let's take our bottom towards our heels, stretching through our shoulders from our fingertips to our bottom. Let's move back into up dog by pushing our hips towards the mat and keeping our arms straight. When you are ready, let's tuck our toes under and take our bottom to the sky, so that we are now in downward dog position again. With this position, we should be able to feel a stretch along the backs of our legs. If you are unable to, try and press your heels towards the mat. As we flow into up dog for the final time, take our hips towards the floor, curving our spine so that we are able to gaze high up onto the ceiling. When you are ready, take your bottom back towards your heels so that we are now back into child's pose. Well done, that is this exercise over. We will now be moving on to our main session. The first sequence we will be doing is mountain pose into tree pose into warrior 2. To begin with, let's get into our neutral standing position by relaxing our shoulders and grounding our feet towards the floor. We will be holding this pose for 30 seconds before completing the tree pose with our right leg on the floor. When you are ready, rebalance yourself so that you are able to lift your left leg off the floor. Place it against your knee. We are now going to take our arms above our head and pull them down in prayer position through our chest towards our hips. We are now going to circle them back above our head once again. When you are ready, pull them back down through your chest towards your hips. When you are ready, let's take our arms back above our heads again before putting them in prayer position and then pulling them down through our body. We will repeat this arm circle one more time, taking them out to the side and up above our head and then pulling them down towards our core. This time we will keep them in our prayer position in front of our chest. When you are ready, extend your leg out to the side with your arms and slowly travel ourselves into our warrior 2 position. With this position, we want to make sure that our knee is not going over our front toe. You may need to wiggle your front foot slightly further forward. We are going to be holding this position for 45 seconds. When you are ready, we are going to add some pulses. This means we're going to be taking our knee over our toe to decrease our stability and increase the strength of our legs. When you are ready, push your knee over your toe and return back to your normal lunge. Knee over your toe again and return back to your lunge. Take your knee over your toe and return back to your lunge. Knee over your toe, return back to your lunge. And one more time, knee over your toe and return back to your lunge. We can now straighten our legs and step out of this lunge. We will now complete on the opposite side. Once again, we want to get into our neutral position by relaxing our shoulders and grounding our feet towards the floor. We will be holding this for 30 seconds. When you are ready, let's begin to shift our weight onto our left leg so that we are able to pick our right foot up and place it against our knee. Once again, we will be doing the same of circling our arms up the sides before getting them in prayer position and pulling them down throughout our body. Let's take our arms back up the outside before placing them together above our head and bringing them down through our core. Take them up the sides again before placing them together above our head and bringing them down in front of us. One more time, take them up the sides to connect it above our heads and bring them down in prayer position to place at our chest. When you are ready, extend your leg out to the side before stepping into our lunge in warrior 2 pose. We want to make sure that our back foot is facing the side and that our front foot, our knee, is not going over our toe. When you are ready, we are going to complete our pulses again. So let's pulse forward and return to lunge, and pulse forward and return to our lunge, and pulse forward and return to our lunge, pulse forward, return to our lunge, and pulse forward and return to our lunge. Let's straighten our legs and return to our neutral standing. We will complete this exercise one more time on either side. So let's start by getting into our neutral position one more time. When you are ready, adjust your weight onto your right foot before lifting your left leg up and placing your foot against your knee. We will be completing 4 more arm circles by taking them up the sides and bringing them down in front of us in our prayer position. So that's our first one complete. Let's take them up the sides again and connect them above our head before pulling them down in front of us. Let's take them up the sides again before connecting them above our head and controlling them down in front of us. Let's complete this one more time by taking them up out the sides, connecting them above our head, and pulling them down into a prayer position where we sit with it just in front of our chest. When you are ready, let's extend our leg out to the side of us before slowly moving into our lunge. We want to make sure that our back foot is turned to the side and that our front knee isn't going over our toes. Make sure that your arms are straight out to the sides and that you're looking over your front fingers. When you are ready, we are going to complete our 5 pulses. Let's pulse 1 and return to neutral. Pulse 2 and return to neutral. Pulse 3 and return to neutral. Pulse 4 and return back to neutral. And pulse 5 and return back to our neutral. Well done. Straighten your legs and step back into your side. You will now complete one more time on the opposite leg. Let's start by getting into our neutral position. When you are ready, let's shift our balance to our left leg before picking up the right leg and placing it against our knee. Once again, we will complete our 4 arm circles. by taking them above our head, connecting and pulling them down through a prayer position towards our hips. Take them up the sides, connect at the top, and pull them down through the prayer position. Let's complete the third one by taking them up the sides, connecting them above our head, and pulling them down through the prayer position in front of our chest. And for the fourth time, let's take them up the sides, connect above our head, and pull down to the prayer position to leave them at rest in front of our chest. When you are ready, let's extend our leg out to the side before moving into our Warrior 2 position. We are going to hold this position for 45 seconds before completing our 5 pulses again. When you are ready, let's complete our pulses. Pulse 1 and return to the lunge. Pulse 2 and return to the lunge. Pulse 3 and return to your lunge. Pulse 4 and return to the lunge. And pulse 5, return to the lunge. Now extend your legs and return to neutral standing. Well done. That is this exercise is complete. The next sequence we will do is chair pose rolled onto toes and then into a forward fold. Let's find our neutral standing position to begin with, before taking our arms above our head and hinging at the hips slightly and bending our knees into our chair pose. We are going to be holding this position for 45 seconds, so remember to keep your core engaged and remember to keep breathing. Rather than how we normally do it, this time, with our rolling onto our toes, we are going to stay in our chair position and roll up through the feet onto our toes. This is going to be hard, but we're only going to hold this for 15 seconds. If you fall out of it, it doesn't matter, just return back to our normal chair position. When you are ready, roll back down through the feet. When you are ready, you're going to unfold at the hips and straighten the legs before fully hinging at the hips and taking our hands towards the floor. When doing this, we want to make sure that we are keeping our back straight so that we are feeling the stretch down the backs of our legs. When you are ready, bend at the knees and return back to our standing position with our arms above our head. Bend the knees and hinge at the hips slightly to return back to our chair position. When you are ready, let's roll back onto our toes. We want to make sure that we are engaging our core and our hamstrings so that we are able to stabilise ourselves fully. Well done, that is the 15 seconds over. Let's return to our standing position before hinging at the hips to take our hands towards the floor. When you are ready, bend at the knees and return to our standing position. When you are ready, take your arms back above your head and move to our chair position for the third time. Once again, let's roll up through the feet onto our toes. Well done, that is the 15 seconds over. Let's now return to our standing position before hinging at the hips and taking our hands towards the floor. Let's bend our knees and return to our neutral standing position. When you are ready, let's return to our chair pose for the fourth and final time. When you are ready, let's make sure we are engaging our core before we roll up through onto our toes within the chair position. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's roll back down through our feet. Well done. Let's stand up with our arms above our head before hinging the hips, taking our hands to the floor for our fourth and final time. When you are ready, bend at the knees and unroll yourself back to our neutral standing position. And that's this exercise over. We will now be moving on to our cool down. The first pose we will be doing is the reclining butterfly pose. First, we are going to start with a sitting butterfly pose. So we want to place the soles of our feet together with our knees bent out to the sides. You should be able to deepen the stretch by placing your elbows on your knees and pushing them down slightly. When you are ready, bend your knees back in front of you before lying down. When you are ready, place the soles of your feet together and bend your knees back out to the sides. Well done, that is this exercise complete. We will now be moving on to a seated forward fold. When you are ready, let's sit on the floor with our legs placed out in front of us. We want to make sure that we are keeping our back straight when we hinge forward with our hips. Remember to keep breathing as it will allow us to deepen our stretch further. Well done, that is this exercise complete and the session finished.